Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Greg Slozik, and I am the upper school principal at Chadwick International School. And today I'm going to be talking to you all about the issue of cyberbullying. And our objective today as a teaching staff is to know how to identify and properly intervene during a case of cyberbullying. So, we're going to talk a little bit about legal historical precedent and cyberbullying. And so, first things first is we should get a working definition. This comes from stopbullying.gov, which is an organization, government organization in the United States, and they define cyberbullying as cyberbullying is bullying that takes place over digital devices like cell phones, computers, and tablets. Cyberbullying can occur through SMS, text, and apps, or online in social media forums, or gaming where people can view, participate in, or share content. Cyberbullying includes sending, posting, or sharing negative, harmful, false, or mean content about someone else. It can include sharing personal or private information about someone else, causing embarrassment or humiliation. Some cyberbullying crosses the line into unlawful or criminal behavior. So this is from an American context, and we are a independent international school with a sister school in Palos Verdes, California. And so it's important for us, especially given the fact that a large portion of our teaching staff comes from the United States, to kind of give an understanding of the U.S. perspective, but also then take a look at how we are framing some of our internal policies to fit in the need of our local context. So some U.S. legal issues that kind of gave us the basis for understanding how we would frame what would be acceptable use and what would constitute cyberbullying at Chadwick International. So the First and 14th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution do cause some ambiguity because obviously the First Amendment is the freedom of speech, and the 14th Amendment is equal protection under law. And so, at times, these two legal amendments can be contradictory or even conflict with one another. So, just a quick historical overview of some of the legal ways in which the ideas that we're going to talk about were framed in a U.S. legal context. So in Tinker versus Des Moines Independent Community School District in 1969, the wearing of armbands during the Vietnam War as a form of protest caused several students to be suspended, but that suspension was uplifted, again, due to the fact that the First Amendment protected it. In J.S. versus Bethlehem Area School District in 2000, students threatened abuse against a teaching staff member, but the comments were made out of school. Even though this was the case, the students were suspended because their actions had a disruptive effect on the learning environment. In Kowalski versus Berkeley County Schools in 2011, a student created a MySpace page which depicted a fellow schoolmate as having an STD. That student was suspended. They took it to court to appeal, but eventually wound up losing and was suspended for what eventually turned out to be 5 days. In JS versus Blue Mountain School District in 2011, a student created a webpage making disparaging remarks about the principal. The students were initially suspended, but an appeals court found them not guilty. So, what's the commonality between these cases? Well, they proved a substantial interference with school discipline and the rights of others. The ones that were applied to students and where the students were eventually suspended, that was kind of the benchmark to which the court decisions were made. And so, to a large degree, that's what we're going to try to use as the basic principle under which we've framed our acceptable use and to decide whether or not there is indeed active cyberbullying happening and how to actually to deal with it. So we are an independent school in Korea, And we're also in an economic free trade area in Incheon. And so, in many ways, we we kind of have our feet in three different cultures. One is in the world culture, and with people coming and going quite frequently in and out of Songdo and Incheon. Then we have the local context of the local culture and the local laws. And then we are an independent school that is affiliated with a sister school in Palos Verdes, California. And so there can be instances where there's U.S. law involved as well. So we have applied this to our local context by creating a list of unacceptable technological uses. We wind up utilizing this during our new student orientation, and then during advisory at the beginning of school and assembly time, we go through and we talk with the students about what constitutes appropriate use, what constitutes inappropriate use, and what constitutes cyberbullying. And so, when looking through these bullet points, there are several that kind of jump right out. And again, harassing, insulting, or threatening others. We try to reinforce what those things are because they can be ambiguous, especially given the fact that what could be seen as harassing, insulting, or threatening within a Western context may not be seen as such within a Korean context, or we have students who are from the Middle East, we have students who are from Southeast Asia, and again, we try to mitigate these types of things first and foremost by instilling within our kids a sense of community through through our honor code and also through the use of the learner profile, and when we ensure that the kids understand that we're a community of learners in a global context, and we should try as much as possible to ensure that we're consistently within advisory time when we're out in the hallways, that we are ensuring that the learner profile, the school mission of Chadwick are being modeled and talked about and are living on our walls throughout the course of the school day. So guidance, specific guidance, given the fact that we may not always be live with the kids, we have to ensure that we're very vigilant and cognizant of what we're doing in the virtual world, especially given the fact that we could be going full distance learning and we could be at hybrid learning. And so opportunities for cyberbullying come up probably more often because kids are in a virtual world more often. And so to try to ensure that we're front loading the protections against cyberbullying, we want to make sure that we only add our students to the Google Classroom and Meets that we're specifically using for our classes. We are moving away from Zoom due to the constant upgrades, which make security risks greater. We had during last spring some instances where people who were not supposed to be in Zoom meetings were there. So with Google Classroom, we have a layer of protection because people who enter into Google Classroom and Google Meets have to have a Chadwick. They have to have a Chadwick email address in order to join them. All right, we have to make sure that all students have their video screens and microphones on during synchronous learning lessons. So this is important to ensure to let kids know that we have to have that happen, so that way they that we know it's being said. We know that we're seeing the student's face. We have to make sure that we explain to the kids that they have to get to a quiet space where there's not going to be a lot of background noise, and so that way we can ensure that both the video and the microphone are being used for their security and your security as well. And we want to make sure we keep attendance and email Sue or Jihei if attendance is becoming an issue. Students not showing up for a class repeatedly could be a sign that maybe there is indeed some bullying going on. So make sure that at the start and finish of each class that you take attendance. And if you see irregularities, that you make sure to let Sue or Jihei know. Thank you so much. Have a great year, and let's make sure that we keep ourselves and our students and our learning community safe.